Welcome back to movies that will quiet your soul. I feel like there's a kind of gravity that comes with devotion, one that pulls us towards something larger than ourselves. It demands sacrifice, but it does offer a sense of purpose in return. Some are drawn to it by duty, others by love, and some by both. To serve, to give, to live beyond oneself, these are acts that define the contours of a life. The structure of an existence itself is shaped by such decisions, binding us to things far beyond our understanding. It's an act of strength, of purpose, but also an act of relinquishment. The films I'm going to talk about today are for the souls who have felt the weight of devotion, who have wondered how much of themselves they must surrender to the people, to the things they hold dear, and whether the self can be preserved in the act of giving. So the first film has not left my mind since I saw it. Anthony Hopkins' performance continues to haunt me. There's a restraint in his portrayal. It's so subtle, but it'll stay with you long after you've watched it. At its core, it explores a life defined by duty, by a relentless commitment to serve, to give, to be present for others. The protagonist embodies an almost monastic devotion, carrying out his responsibilities with precision and care, but there's a subtle erosion in the midst of the sacrifice. His selflessness, his ceaseless devotion becomes the kind of prison. The devotion to his cause, to his responsibility, leaves no room for personal desires, for growth, or for connection. There's a particular kind of gravity in the kind of devotion that the film explores. To give oneself to a cause or a person can be a source of immense strength, an affirmation of purpose. But not all causes are just, and not all people are deserving of such loyalty. To devote oneself without reflection is to risk becoming something less than human, a mere instrument of service defined not by what you are, but what you do for others. This is the remains of the day. So the second film I want to share with you is an all-timer. It's genuinely one of the greatest films ever made. It's about a man whose devotion to honor is not born of personal choice, but rather societal expectations, a duty ingrained in him from birth. The world he inhabits operates under a strict code where loyalty to this code is considered the highest virtue, and one's worth is determined by their adherence to it. The man requests to commit seppuku, a ritual suicide, an act which was considered honorable in feudal Japan, to restore his family's honor. What begins as a journey to fulfill a seemingly simple request becomes a descent into the heart of an oppressive system that rewards blind obedience, yet offers no space for doubt or reflection. The film criticizes not just devotion to a cause, but the inherent dangers of sacrificing one's own humanity for an ideal. It interrogates the fine line between honor and self-erasure, showing how devotion, when driven by blind allegiance to tradition or duty, can dehumanize an individual. This is Harakiri. My last film for you today echoes within me to this day. I haven't been the same ever since I first saw it. It's about a family caught between the memory of their patriarch and the hopes for a better future. The matriarch's late husband left behind an insurance check, and in the wake of his passing, the family is pulled in different directions by the weight of what he's left behind. Each member has their own vision for what this money could mean, a personal dream shaped by duty, devotion, and the sacrifices they've made for each other. But the tension rises as they navigate the unspoken sacrifices of their shared life, each one feeling the burden of their devotion to family and the conflicting pull of their own aspirations. The money becomes a symbol of the cost of love, of the fine line between selflessness and self-erasure, and the struggle to honor their loved one while forging their own path. The film is a portrait of devotion, of the ways in which love can bind us but also divide us. The sacrifices made for the family, the dreams put on hold, the unacknowledged tensions, all of these pressures start to surface when the question arises, what happens to a dream deferred? It's a painful journey, one that explores the delicate balance between selflessness and self-erasure and the heavy cost of both. This is A Raisin in the Sun. I grew up on a show called Doctor Who. It's had an immense influence on me, and there's a quote from that show that continues to reverberate within me. Good is good in the final hour, in the deepest pit, without hope, without witness, without reward. Virtue is only virtue in extremis. To devote oneself to a cause or a person could be an act of extraordinary courage. There is dignity in sacrifice and placing the needs of others above your own. It's inherently good. To give yourself wholly, without question, however, to someone undeserving or to an ideal that diminishes rather than uplifts is to risk losing everything that makes you who you are. Devotion is not something to fear, but it does demand discernment. To sacrifice with intention is noble. To sacrifice without reflection is to risk losing yourself. I'll see you around. Take care.